Let's talk about some of the last things we need to make sure are in place before you guys and girls are free to start working in the vault at Fulton. This video series will go on, so this is just the intro. 4 videos, might expand to 5 eventually, but 4 or 5 videos to get you started. Then we're going to have an intermediate and then an advanced series, so I'll keep building on these as time goes on. But yeah, let's get into it. In Inventor, there's some settings you got to set up right off the bat. So when you open, let's go to Tools, and we're going to go to Application Options. Right off the bat, we'll just go right through these to make sure I don't miss anything. General, your username should be your first initial, period, space, and this actually should be all capitalized. And then we're going to click Apply there. Save, there's nothing there. File, this is most of these, because we use Vault in a project, most of these are configured by that. Colors, so if you like dark, as I usually tend to work in, you can change that to dark. You can also go light and change some of your color schemes and stuff like that. So you can choose your color scheme that you like. The one thing we ask is that you don't customize your background image. Well, actually, what I mean is don't customize that to something personal. There was a time years ago when somebody had their background image as a picture of their family. Well, when you go to Vault and you see that thumbnail, especially in the drawing side or wherever, every time anybody saw that, they saw the picture of this person's family, all right, uploaded as the thumbnail, because it's taking a screen grab of your computer. So keep this professional. If you ever needed to do something for like marketing or just needed something, go to Presentation, and you can change this to one color and just make it white in the background. That's the quickest way to take some screen grabs and have it clean. Display. Switch this from Use Document Settings to Use Application Settings. Go to Settings and choose your favorite view style. So I like shaded with edges, whatever you may like, but just go ahead and set that. Zoom direction. So I like to reverse my direction. I think the people who like it the other way are crazy. Just saying, that's fine. But if you feel like you're scrolling the mouse and it's going the opposite way of what you think it is, go ahead and reverse direction. Or maybe that's just the way you started and it makes sense to you. So let's go to hardware. There's nothing there. We're set up on performance. Prompts, we don't need to change anything there. Drawing, edit dimension when created, definitely turning that one off. So every time you place a dimension, you don't want it to ask you. Content center, we don't use content center, so nothing to worry about there. Turn off relationship audio notification. I know that comes in checked. I like to display component names after relationship names. It just helps me identify what that constraint is applying to a little quicker. And click Place and Ground First Component at Origin. Open Express is, I'm sure it has a good purpose somewhere. I just don't find a use for it whatsoever. So I'm just completely disable Express mode, and I recommend you do the same. I feature nothing right now on those. Part, having a sketch, I think this is good. There's some of your settings. Well, I could just export this. I couldn't used to do that. Yeah, maybe in the future I'll do that. Okay, so there's the settings we need to apply in Inventor. Okay, so now let's go make a part. So I'm going to click New, and because you have those templates and you have the project file pointed correctly, you're going to see this screen. When you're creating a standard part, generic part, you can start from Fulton part template. If you're going to go straight into sheet metal, starting from sheet metal comes with some of our styles automatically preloaded in there. Go ahead and ignore this for now. I'm updating some of the styles or migrating them from an older version. So I'm just going to say don't show during this session. In manage styles header, if I want to change this to any of these are all things that we've uploaded to make it easier to switch between styles. So 3/4 inch carbon steel, if you just double click on that, it changes to 3/4 inch carbon steel and looks the part and all that. So I'm gonna go ahead and save and close. But if I started from a Fulton part template and I was modeling this, and I wanted this 1/4 inch circle, and then let's say I decided to convert to sheet metal, which is perfectly fine. You can do this. The only downside is you lose all those templates. You don't. I am wrong. Disregard. I swear that was a thing last time. It must be the design data wasn't pointed in the right direction. Okay, so guess either workflow works for you at that point. Okay, Fulton assembly template. Generally speaking, you want to start with this. There's not, if you know you're going to be welding on it, sure, go start with a weld met. I'll say this. We've heard from Autodesk themselves, like the actual people who design this program and work with people on optimization when we're struggling with some of our large assemblies that have lots of welds. They said that we really shouldn't be modeling welds unless our customer requires it, or if we're running FEA on our models that have the welds in them, which is not the case. It's usually just we like it because it looks a little nicer. Every time you place a constraint in a weld met, Inventor has to recalculate every weld to make sure that it's still applying. So try to find creative ways to call out welds on a drawing rather than having them in the model. And that's straight from Autodesk. Generally speaking, Fulton assembly template, you're going to use that to start. And then your drawing template. So we have a portrait, you're generally just going to use this standard one. These are within that same drawing template. So Fulton NCB, if this sheet ended up, I'm probably getting into more advanced than I need to. Let's say an A size vertical, I would delete that title block off, and I could do a ANSI title block, get rid of that, so on and so forth. So all that stuff is already preloaded into those templates. So let's say I wanted to make a piece of pipe, or channel. What we have in here is all of our standard size channel. So if I were to open this up, okay, so there's some native properties in here that are going to be already pre-configured, and that's why we want to start from a template. Has the raw description, raw part number right in here, and then this length is actually a parameter based on the length. So if I change this to 60, you can see this length property automatically updates, and this helps us when we're building our parts list. It uses these properties to roll that up. Stock number description's already in there and stuff, right? And obviously the shape already being there is a bonus. So that's why, even though a pipe might be a circle and a circle and you know the dimensions, still starting from this template gives us a lot of things already programmed in that keep this rolling up when we go to put it in the parts list, material specs, so on and so forth. So that's why all of these templates are here. That's template files and how to use them. Oh, so what I did is I kept creating new, right? And then I would start from here. And now when I click save, which is also going to bring up the next point I wanted to make, as long as I'm logged into Vault, which I am, when I click save, which what I did there was just hit Control S, but you're going to get this generate file number dialog. Now remember when we were talking about graphics in the second or third video? When I click this down arrow, this actually tells me what product is assigned to each number. We have this for product development, your PD numbers, research and development, your RD numbers, and then sales part numbers. So if you're not in sales, you wouldn't be pulling these, but same idea. We have different parts or part number schemes for each product line and what part of that product line. So let's look at PD, because this is going to be a very simple one. As soon as I click OK, it is going to pull that number. So, and I'll show you, because numbers are cheap. I'm going to click OK. PD 5979. That number is now forever mine. Even if I click cancel right here, that number is already pulled from Vault, so I can use that. It's only going to do that on assemblies and parts. It won't do that on drawing files. As soon as you click OK, you've pulled that number. I actually don't want to save that. That number's now gone. Right? The next time somebody pulls that, it's going to be 5980. We're not going to keep pulling, but that you can take my word for it. Something like this may not have a part number. Like this would be a pipe, probably in an assembly, but I would not have a specific drawing for this cut piece of pipe. It would just be part of the assembly. What I would do is I don't want to generate a part number. I can hit escape, I can hit X, or I can hit skip. Any of those bring me to a normal file dialog box. And just so I can show you quick, when I am saving a sub-assembly, let's go to the PD's numbers. So I'm going to go PD 5000. So this is a typical folder structure. I'm in the PDs, and sometimes these are assemblies and they have many components to them, like cut pieces of pipe, like cut pieces of channel. Those pieces of channel do not have their own part number and own drawing. So you would go into the subcomponents folder, right? So all the main files go into the main folder, then the subcomponents go to subcomponents, and each assembly will have a subfolder in here. And you can see I've saved some pipe in here, some plate. You really need to keep a consistent naming structure. So all of mine end in 01 and 02, 03. That much is crucial. There's many programs that we have in the background that actually utilize those last 2 digits, and it keeps it consistent. So it's part number, whatever part number assembly you're working on, space, dash, space, some generic description, and then 01. If you're doing a very specific thing, like this is a bent plate for fit up, maybe you just want to call it that, that's fine. But if it's something like an angle that you could have multiple of, if there's any chance you could have multiple of them, use this structure to keep it clean. So in here I would save it as, I would just go, okay, this is the next pipe in line. I'm going to call this one pipe 3, and I could click save, and I bypass the part numbering scheme. Rename and edit properties. Let's go to the vault. So as I was saying, PD and RD numbers do eventually become part numbers. Yeah, you see all of these started off as PD numbers. Probably you can see that if you look at the history, show all versions. I'd have to add historical file name. Just see if I can do that. Just show you real quick. Even extending the time. File name historical. And you can see this used to be PD 5505 and then changed to 501 part number. So how do you do that? It's really simple. Okay, so let's say I was here. Let's go. Yeah, we'll just do this. So I'm going to grab all these 5079s, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to choose rename. So I don't need to add any more files. I click next. Little tricky here. I have to go to numbering scheme, turn off prefix, and turn off none, or turn it to none. We're not using any numbering scheme to pull this. Most time these part numbers will be given to you by manufacturing engineering or somebody in charge of the item master. And then I could put in here 588 123, whatever your part number is, right? And I can just copy paste those all across. And then as soon as I click finish, those would all be renamed. And then the other thing I would have to do is I would come in here, see if I remember to do it for this one. And what I'm going to do is make sure that I updated my stock number. I'm going to give myself a little break in here. Your stock number, the drawing doesn't actually pull anywhere. So what I'm doing is I'm adding properties to make sure that stock number is updated as well. And this is a good way to do a mass update on any descriptions that you decided or someone decided you needed to go through and change a little bit. Or material spec, any of your custom properties, you can do all of this on a mass edit. So I just shift click there. I can hit Control E, which is what I'm used to, or I can edit properties, and then I can go through and start adding any of these properties that I want to look at. Yeah, you get the idea. All these iProperties you can go through and add, and then go through and mass edit. And lastly, PDF Publisher. You're going to go to Documents, Programs, PDF to Vault.exe. Once you run this, we're not checking that out. Nope. What I got to do, I got to go to, I'm right clicking, going to working folder. This is going to bring up my Windows Explorer, and now I should be able to PDF to Vault. If I run this, yeah, it doesn't want to run on parts, so that's why it's giving me an error. And this is not saved, so I'll just save this real quick. Designs, again, this is going to be junk. Okay, I'm going to pin this if you haven't already. Right click pin. I've done that for Vault, AutoCAD and Inventor as well. If you finish a drawing, what we do is we actually attach the PDF to the IDW, which helps it check in automatically, and it creates that link. So you can do that manually. By file, export, PDF, make sure it goes into the correct folder. It's always the native folder that the drawing is in. Export it there with all the correct settings. Manage, insert object, create from file, link, browse, go find that file, and attach it. Click OK. And that would show up. Or you can use this program. So I just clicked refresh there, make sure that's lining up correctly. So I'm going to create PDF. It's letting me know it's going to overwrite anything. I'm okay with that. So you can see here that third party popped up. It's a blank PDF. So now when I go to check this in, it automatically grabs that PDF too, which is convenient. The other thing that PDF program does, totally up to you if you utilize it, but I find it handy, is if I click the whip DWG and I have a whole project of PDFs I'm doing that aren't signed off yet, I can click whip DWG. I'm going to call this project testing, and when I create the PDF now, if I go to documents, my ! whip PDFs is where it saves all of these, and then if I go to testing, you can see it's whip dash joink and tells me the ref that we're actually on. So this is handy if you're, you have a whole bunch of PDFs that you need to get out for review, and want to make sure they're clearly designated as not released yet. That's a fast way to do PDFs, I guess, is in the end what I'm trying to say. Okay, with that, this video series is over for the intro to Inventor at Fulton. With that, you're free to explore, free to design, draw, and create. So good luck out there. Let me know if you need any help, and I'll see you in the next series of kind of diving more into what Fulton does. Okay, thanks everyone.